Well, I took a class for my history research seminar. I took a class on Southern history with Dr. Gillespie, and she encouraged a lot of us to do projects that were kind of closer to home, and maybe suggested that we do something relating to Wake or relating to a local topic. And not everyone in the class followed that. Everyone obviously wrote about Southern history, but I got really interested in writing about Wake and started kind of looking into it. And the previous year I had a class with Dr. Hopkins, and she, Beth Hopkins, and she had been one of the first African-American females to integrate Wake Forest, and had talked about her experience some in our class. So I got really interested in maybe interviewing her more and learning more about other students' experience of integration at Wake. And it ended up being a really neat project that I'm really proud of.
So what are a few of the most interesting things you learned while you were doing this research about Wake Forest?
Well, I got to interview a lot of really neat people. I talked to Dr. Ed Wilson and the Tribbles, Harold Tribbles' daughter and son-in-law. And they had a lot of really interesting insight. I think one of the most interesting things that Dr. Wilson said was that, you know, obviously there was all this controversy going on campus about whether to integrate or not, and a lot of controversy within the student body and the faculty and the board of trustees. And Dr. Wilson said at one point that, you know, he was in the administrative office at one time, and he told me that, you know, while they were trying to fix the problem of integration and maybe open the doors for integration at Wake, that what was happening on campus or what was happening in the dorms with the actual students' experiences and what the students wanted wasn't necessarily always what the administration saw was happening. Okay, well, the first African-American to come to Wake was Ed Reynolds. They brought Ed over from Ghana. He was a missionary student there, and obviously Wake Forest was still a Baptist institution at the time. And the African Student Project, which was part of the Baptist Student Union on campus, raised money to bring Ed Reynolds over to the U.S. and to fund his education. It was really interesting because there were obviously all these qualified students in Winston-Salem or in North Carolina that would have been great candidates for Wake, but they brought Ed Reynolds over because it was a good way to open the doors at a Baptist institution to say, we're bringing this student over from a missionary mindset to give him an education and then send him back to Africa to be a missionary to his own people, which that didn't happen in the long run. It just ended up being kind of a good ploy on the students and the faculty leadership on their part to really open the doors to bring more students in and integrate the full college.